everybody, and welcome to Crossin' Kin. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy, and welcome to the Crossin' Kin Garage.
This is Star Wars Month.
We're continuing, yes.
This is one of our last videos of Star Wars Month, actually.
Sad day.
Today, guys, I don't know if y'all know this, but on the date this will be releasing, it is the 46th anniversary of A New Hope hitting theaters. I was -19.
I was 13.
So this day is very special for Star Wars, and we are going to talk about something that is equally special to Star Wars, the score.
That's right. The music of Star Wars has in and of itself become a character. My personal convictions are that it is as equal to the narrative of the story of Han, Leia, and Luke, and all of the other accessory characters as well. But it becomes a character in and of itself, masterfully done by John Williams in the original films.
If you would like to hear sort of a part one of me and Dad gush about John Williams, check the card, which is hopefully right up here. We have a whole video about various composers, and let me tell you, John Williams is there. But we are not just going to talk about Mr. Williams. We're going to talk about all the Star Wars content there is. We're going to go ahead and give a couple little shout outs to some people that haven't had as big of an impact on Star Wars music, and then we're going to talk about 3 specifically that have had a fairly significant impact on Star Wars, both originally and recently.
But make no doubt about it, we understand, as well as you understanding, that John Williams made the foundation. We're going to talk more about him in a little bit, but everything is built on that opening salvo in Episode 4. So, I mean, what more do you need? And you've instantly thought of it. So, we won't even worry about trying to sing it for you.
Thank you very much. All right, so the few artists composers that we want to make mention of, they only have one credit to their Star Wars name, but we do want to give them credit where it's due. So we have John Powell, who did the score for Solo, which Solo I feel is underrated. Tell me your opinion in the comments below. I loved Solo, personally.
We've talked about this before on Crossin' Kin. I don't remember the exact episode. We've filmed so many already. But you go back and check those out. Solo we love as a movie. As a family, we think that it does a very good job of bridging some of those gaps. It's not quite as good as those last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, but it is certainly, I don't think, deserving of the just on that it continues to get.
It is absolutely not. And John Powell's score is excellent.
Absolutely good.
I love the score in Solo. Natalie Holt, she was the composer for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney Plus, and it is also very, very good. She borrowed some of the themes, I think, from the prequel era, especially for some of the fight scenes and some of the just Obi-Wan alone type stuff, but her score was also excellent.
You just have to remember that the music behind any given film goes so far in giving the emotions of the picture, and that score for Obi-Wan does a very, very good job of that.
And our last kind of honorable mention is Nicholas Britell. He did the score for Andor, and we talked endlessly, it felt like, about our love of Andor in our show ranking. There should be a playlist up here. That's why I keep pointing. The score was, I cannot get into how much I loved the score of Andor.
And it really, really does, it creates the sense of the rebellion in its earliest stages. Andor becomes one of the main proponents and sets up the movie Rogue One so brilliantly. We're looking forward to seeing what they do with season 2. Please bring Andy Serkis back.
Please.
But we anticipate the music continuing to just be that core of a foundation for setting the tone. Andor is dark. Andor and Obi-Wan both are a little bit darker by their nature than any of the films or perhaps any of the other television episodes on Disney Plus, with the exception of perhaps Boba Fett. But understand that it does an incredible job of setting that tone.
The music elevates both of those shows
Absolutely.
so well. So Mr. Britell, Miss Holt, and Mr. Powell, thank you for your contributions to Star Wars scores.
We love your music.
We love it.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
All right, so we are going to start with the father of Star Wars music, Mr. John Williams.
We just can't talk enough about this gentleman's contribution to music in our generation.
Yes.
And I take that from my time when he was even on the television show Lost in Space as Johnny Williams. But all the way until now, to where he's still contributing music to the Star Wars universe.
We are going to highlight 3 specific scores that he composed for Star Wars in general. Across the franchise, I believe these scores, with the exception of one, gets used across the whole trilogy, but I could be wrong. Or across the whole series, rather. But I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I am. I don't mind. So, okay. Let's start with the beginning. The main theme.
From the opening crawl, you know that the music is going to be prolific, it's going to be bombastic, and it's going to absolutely set the stage for the narrative that you have going on. Even in the boring droid parts at the beginning, you're just like, we're going to fall asleep and die in the sand.
Nope.
With R2 and 3PO. Shut up.
Stop.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
But the music keeps you awake.
But the music does a good job of even emoting that kind of a segue time, if you will, getting us to more of the action times.
He is a little bit partial to the main theme because he himself is a brass player, and the main theme is pretty much all horns, so...
Thank you, Mr. Williams, because it's obvious that you're a brass player.
All right. Next up, we are going to talk about the Imperial March, the ultimate villain theme song. Bum, 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 bum. Like, that's like the most intimidating song ever, to the point that pretty much every college football band plays it to intimidate.
It is definitely a collegiate, when you're trampling down the field on a march. Yeah, that's been it has, you know, it's probably time for something else to come along, but yeah, when you've got the absolute best theme that you can possibly come up with, use it. And it's so associated with Darth Vader, too.
Mm-hmm.
It is, while it's called the Imperial March, every time you hear that,
it is accompanied by this piece of music.
You just hear that music coming along. And it is such an incredible pairing of villain and music. And you just know that it is going to be. Even in... We're watching through Rebels, me for a second time, Kristen for the 85th, I think. But
4th.
Anytime Vader shows up, you hear the Imperial March. And you're like, okay, thank you for the ode to Mr. Williams, and thank you for continuing. And that's one of the other beautiful things about the music of Star Wars. It has been so incredibly consistent. Regardless of where you may be in that galaxy afar, far away, you hear themes, you hear a chord progression, you hear a blast of trumpets that you're like, I've heard this before. Something cool and groovy is about to happen. Or something ominous, or something scary, or something heartbreaking.
Or something triumphant.
Or something absolutely triumphant. You know, because the themes are just melting through all of the Star Wars universe.
The next piece of music that we're going to talk about is a piece of music that combines all of the aspects that Dad just talked about. Duel of the Fates.
Incredible. It is one of the only things that has redemption for the prequels. Sorry, I said that out loud.
No, you're good. You're good.
The prequels don't get me wrong, they do a good job setting up storyline. There's just some really moments that you're like, what?
This could have been edited.
Huh? No, what? We love Duel of the Fates. It is the apex of the prequel trilogy for me, musically as well as the scene that it is supporting. So
it actually gets used twice in the prequel trilogy, I do believe. Once for the Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight, and then once in Revenge of the Sith during the battle on Mustafar.
Another incredible brass pick that you hear collegiate bands attempting to make sure that they're paying that homage to Mr. Williams.
This song has become so ingrained in Star Wars that it got used in the Obi-Wan trailer.
Right.
It is just, it's so awesome and so, like, it inspires awe. It is the definition of awesome.
If you're a trumpet or French horn player, it's hard to play too.
Yes.
I mean, you really have to practice and practice and practice to get mediocre. And then if you want perfection out of it, you have to be the London Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, sir. But beyond just the trumpet, the horn sections, there's the choir that is constantly in the background going "Tora," and I don't know the rest of the words. If you know the actual lyrics that the beautiful, beautiful choir is singing behind the amazing horn section, put it down in the comments for us so that I know what they are.
This is going to be a drawback, perhaps to my generation, but not since the movie Excalibur and the Carmina Burana has a pairing of a scene with a action and its music gone so hand in hand with exactly what Kristen said, a full-blown musical accompaniment including vocals as well as orchestral instrumentation. It is just genius.
Star Wars doesn't use choir that often, to my recollection. So when this choir comes through, and it has your attention.
Absolutely.
So well. But everything is owed to John Williams.
Right.
Everything is owed to Mr. Williams. Every piece of Star Wars score, because let's be honest, as you have told me multiple times, every composer pulls a little bit, even if it's just a tiny little bit, from Mr. Williams' original score.
Absolutely.
However, I would say there is an exception to that rule.
Rock on.
And it is with Ludwig Göransson. If I have said his name wrong, please correct me and tell me how it is pronounced. But I'm going with my pronunciation of Ludwig Göransson. He does the score for both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. Their theme songs alone would earn him a place in the Star Wars Hall of Fame.
Now, don't get us wrong. He does not by any stretch rival John Williams.
No.
However, for what those television shows are, and for the portions of the story in the Skywalker saga that they tell, this music is outstanding.
But I think the reason I don't fully ever really hear the John Williams type score is because this is actually fairly disconnected from the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Like not that it's not part of the Skywalker, canon, because Skywalker saga is from 1 to 9. Anything that is in between that is considered Skywalker saga as far as I am concerned.
But you're absolutely right. He takes a completely different track with the stories that he's given, because it doesn't deal with the principles of Luke, Han, Leia, Darth Vader, R2-D2, C-3PO, Obi-Wan, and so on. Because it is a different track, he has taken a different track.
But his comes off, if I can make this comparison, it comes off less Star Wars massive horns and more the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, it really, really does. That's a ode back to Enrico Morenico or something like that, the guy who did it.
Womp, womp, womp.
Right, the Clint Eastwood spaghetti western movies.
But both shows have such western vibes. I believe we talked about that in our show ranking also. We might have even talked about that a little bit when we were discussing the character of Din Djarin. Again, playlist should be up here. But because they are such westerns-ish in their approach, Ludwig does a fantastic job of bringing in the space western vibe better.
And it's, while still posing some homages to the Star Wars universe.
Such as the use of a choir in the Book of Boba Fett theme.
Absolutely. It's original. It is so original that, yes, you know that it's Star Wars music, but you're like, wow, we've never really heard this before.
Yeah.
And that's cool too.
Instead of the epic holding of ta-da, it's da-da-da-da-dum-da-da-da. It's chanting. Instead of holding the note, it's chanting. And it's so good.
It's very effective. Very effective for both of those shows. Congratulations, sir.
Yes.
You did a marvelous job.
And I sincerely hope you get to do the score for the upcoming Dave Filoni Mandalorian movie.
Hopefully. Which is going to be
finish out with the character you've scored so well,
absolutely.
Mr. Goranson.
Yep.
All right. Last composer we're going to talk about. Guys, I'm going to be honest. Next to Mr. Williams, this composer, he is my favorite Star Wars composer. And that is because he scores my favorite aspects of Star Wars. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Kevin Kiner. He is the composer for pretty much all of Star Wars animation.
And he gets a theme for Hondo!
Yes, Hondo does have a theme. You always know when Hondo's coming on because his music plays.
It's kind of piratey music, believe it or not. So.
It is. But that's the thing. Kevin Kiner seems to get the characters.
Absolutely.
So well. But one other thing I want to say before you launch in, because I want you to. He does an upbeat version of the Imperial March, and it is terrifyingly upbeat. The Imperial March is not supposed to be played as this triumphant parade music. It's supposed to be scary. And he does it in a major key or a minor key, or he changes a key somewhere. And it's just, watch. I want to say the episode is Empire Day. Watch the episode Empire Day of Rebels if you want to hear that. It gets used more than once in Rebels, but the first time I caught that, I went, that's the Imperial March. That's not right! And Mr. Kiner did it.
Brilliant job. Absolutely brilliant. Actually, it's less Imperial March, more Cantina Band.
Yeah, oh man.
So, you do need to go and check that out. But in the event that you have not seen Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, because they're cartoons, get over yourself, please. Respectfully, get over yourself.
Tales of the Jedi as well.
Tales of the Jedi as well. I was one of those people.
I was not.
I will tell you, Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, I am sold on these characters because they do tell an incredible narrative of gaps that you're wondering about. If you just watch the trilogies. The trilogies, I guess.
The trio of trilogies.
The trio of trilogies. If you don't dig the animation, watch it for the stories. If you don't dig the animation, listen into it for the music. Because, like Kristen said, Mr. Kiner is almost on par with John Williams as far as scoring these to make them so well known and so character driven. That his music, I mean, it's a rare occasion when you go to see a movie that you're like, okay, that music was driving the character. It was propelling the character along the narrative. It supported and almost became one of the characters itself. Mm-hmm. He does a brilliant job. 7 seasons of Clone Wars.
Yes, 7 seasons of Clone Wars. Thus far, 2 seasons, but a third confirmed for Bad Batch, which will be its final. 4 seasons of Rebels and a second season of Tales has been confirmed, and we can only assume Mr. Kiner will be on board for it.
I cannot stress to you enough, the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars equals almost the original trilogy as far as its story and the music.
The music.
Absolutely
the music
incredible.
Breaks my heart, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
just the music breaks my heart. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, Mr. Kiner, congratulations. You have done what composers over the last 40-something years have attempted to do, and that is to borrow themes from John Williams, make them your own, and drive the characters for which you are given the musical opportunity for.
And you're obviously very well in tune with these characters because the themes you create, Ezra's theme especially in Rebels, which we've been hearing quite a lot lately, is just, it's so beautiful. I hope it appears in Ahsoka. I don't know who's supposed to compose Ahsoka. If that has been announced by the time this video drops, please let us know down in the comments so that we can start looking at who this composer may be.
And what else they may have done.
Yes.
That's one of the things. All of these composers that we've mentioned today, please go to IMDb
Or Wikipedia.
Look these guys up. See the other music that they have done. And you will find that they are prolific. They're not John Williams prolific.
Nobody is.
But he, you know...
He's John Williams!
I mean, we'll just leave it at that. I mean, this is the third episode where the Mr. Williams has pretty much taken over our entire episode. So,
yes.
But he's absolutely, in the world of music, the prominent classical music composer of our day, who happens to just be writing those themes for movie scores that we absolutely adore. These other guys, they've done a great job. Again, Mr. Kiner is so close, but none of it. It's kind of like my take on covers in music. It's very difficult to come on to par with the originals. So, congratulations to those of you who we've mentioned in our video this time. What do you think? Is there somebody perhaps that we have missed?
Yes, I did my absolute best to find everybody who did a score in any major Star Wars, but again, there is always the chance that I might have missed someone.
Yeah, and maybe even if there's a book on CD that has supportive music or something like that we've missed, please let us know. We like Star Wars enough that we'd investigate those kinds of things.
Oh, trust me, that's coming. I'm hoping to get the Bad Batch score very soon because I love that score.
We just love the music of Star Wars.
We love it.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Again, we love to listen, and we're to the point now that is one of the reasons why we wait for the rolling credits at the end, is we want to see who has scored not just the popular music that may have been on the soundtracks, a la Guardians of the Galaxy. The music of Star Wars doesn't need popular music.
No.
Doesn't deserve popular music. It deserves
to become
the modern
its own
day.
popular music.
Absolutely. To become its own popular. It deserves the modern day Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, Mozart, which
absolutely
these guys, in our opinions, are. And we would be remiss if we were to mention the music of Star Wars without mentioning the incredible orchestras,
yes,
choirs.
Yes.
There are a myriad of those people who played the instruments, who have performed this music. The composer gets so much of the credit, but as a player myself, and I understand the hours upon hours of practice that you have to do to get that done as well as you have. And we thank you from the bottoms of our hearts for the sacrifice of time. Yes, I know you got paid for it, but we also understand that there was an incredible amount of preparation taken on your part, musicians and choirs, to propel this galaxy far away into our living rooms and into our theaters. And we thank you so much for it.
Well, I think Daddy said just about everything there is to say. Thank y'all so much for joining us today here in the Crossing Kin Garage. This is one of the last episodes of Star Wars Month. We will have a video next week, and then we will get back into our regular schedule.
Thanks for joining us.
We should have a video on Saturday, unless something has gone terribly wrong, but then that will be our last Star Wars Month video until next year. I'm already sort of making plans for next year's Star Wars Month. If there is something you want us to discuss, be it a character, a specific piece of music. If you want us to drone on about Duel of the Fates for 20 minutes, I'm game. I love that bit of music. We will take it piece by piece if we have to.
One step at a time.
We are going to talk about droids next year. I already made that commitment to you last week.
That was a question in my mind. I was like,
We're definitely talking about droids. I made that commitment already. And we've got some great stuff coming down the pipe in the rest of the year, so stay tuned to Crossing Kin.
We hope you've enjoyed Star Wars Month. If there are other celebrations out there
Yes.
that you think we would be interested in participating in with Crossing Kin, please let us know. Star Trek fans, please understand one thing. I am a Trekkie first. Live long and prosper.
I will be editing that out.
From Crossing Kin and the Crossing Kin Garage, I'm Randy.
I'm Kristen.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.